Your browser is engineered like a casino. Your prefrontal cortex never stood a chance. And the worst part? You think it's a willpower problem. You think you're lazy. You think everyone else can sit down and study online for hours while your brain just refuses to cooperate. It's not a willpower problem. It's a dopamine architecture problem. And today we're dismantling it completely. Every time you open a browser to study, you're not entering a library. You're entering a system built by the most sophisticated behavioral engineers on the planet, whose only job, every single day, is to keep you scrolling and clicking and consuming indefinitely. In 2026, AI-driven recommendation engines don't just suggest content, they map your reward prediction cycles in real time. They know the exact second your focus starts slipping, and they serve you something just stimulating enough to pull you under before your prefrontal cortex even registers what happened. And here's what makes it devastating. You don't feel it happening. There's no alarm, no warning. One moment you're retrieving information with a clear purpose. The next, you're 3 tabs deep into something that has absolutely nothing to do with why you opened the browser in the first place. Here's the physiological reality. When you actively retrieve information, searching deliberately, reading critically, solving a specific problem, your brain is in a state of effortful cognition. It's slow, it's uncomfortable, but it builds real knowledge. It creates lasting neural pathways. That discomfort is not the enemy. That discomfort is the actual work. The moment you shift to passive consumption, a recommended video, an autoplay, a trending article, your brain gets a hit of exogenous dopamine. Fast, easy, and completely empty of lasting learning value. And here's the trap nobody talks about. The shift happens so gradually that you don't notice it until it's already done, and the entire session is already gone. One search becomes a sidebar click. One sidebar click becomes a 40-minute spiral. Your prefrontal cortex, your brain's executive command center, gets bypassed completely. And you're no longer studying. You're feeding a loop that was designed to be nearly impossible to escape once you're inside it. Think about what that means over time. Every session that starts as studying and ends as scrolling is training your brain to associate the act of opening a browser with reward-seeking behavior. You're not just losing one session. You're slowly rewiring your default response to digital environments every single time it happens. The damage compounds silently, invisibly, and relentlessly. So how do you fight a system designed by billion-dollar companies? You don't fight it, you make it boring. This is the concept of forced latency, and it's backed by decades of cognitive science research. When you introduce deliberate friction between you and a high-stimulation site, you restore executive function. The 3-second delay becomes a circuit breaker between impulse and action. That small gap is enough for your prefrontal cortex to reassert control before the loop takes hold, and the session is lost. 3 changes, right now. 1. Strip your browser completely. Remove every bookmark. Kill every extension that surfaces content you didn't ask for. Install a grayscale toggle and turn it on during every single study session. Color is a casino cue. Reds and yellows and notification badges are engineered to trigger urgency responses in your nervous system. The moment you remove color from the equation, the pull of the interface weakens significantly and immediately. 2. Never open a homepage again. Ever. YouTube.com is designed to capture you the moment you arrive. So is Reddit. So is Twitter. Every homepage is a lobby engineered to make you forget why you walked in. Enter every site through a direct URL or a precise search query only. You arrive with intention. You leave when the intention is fulfilled. Not before, not after. No detours. 3. Search-only sessions. Before you open any browser, you write down the exact question you need answered. One question, written on paper before the browser opens. You enter, retrieve the answer, and close the tab immediately. That's it. No browsing, no while I'm here. The session ends when the query is answered and not a single second later. This feels extreme. Good. Extreme problems need extreme architecture. The deepest mistake online learners make is using the same device, the same browser, the same physical environment for both research and deep work. That's like trying to sleep in a casino. The environment is working against you before you even start. The solution is the two-device doctrine. Device 1 is your research machine. Internet on. Friction architecture fully active. You gather raw material here and nothing else. No writing, no thinking, no synthesis. Device 2 is your synthesis machine. Internet off, local files only. This is where you think, write, build, and understand. No connection, no triggers, no exits, no algorithm deciding what you encounter next. Just you and the material. Don't have two devices? Simulate it. Split your workflow into 2 hard time blocks with a physical break between them. Stand up, walk out of the room. Come back. The context switch is the device. The act of leaving and returning creates the same psychological separation that a second device would give you. Your brain recognizes the shift. It resets. And before any research session begins, quarantine your sources. Every article, every video, every resource goes into a read later app first. Instapaper, Raindrop, anything. You don't consume it in the moment you find it. You consume it later, on your terms, in a controlled block, with zero algorithmic interference surrounding it. That break between finding and consuming is where your dopamine baseline resets. There's one more enemy nobody names, the transition tax. You close Instagram, you open your textbook, and nothing happens. Your brain refuses to engage. You read the same paragraph 4 times without absorbing a single word. You feel stupid. You feel broken. You wonder if you're even capable of learning. You're not stupid. You're neurologically depleted. High stimulation environments flood your brain with rapid dopaminergic bursts. When you cut that off and immediately demand that your brain engage with dense, slow, non-stimulating academic material, your brain experiences something genuinely close to withdrawal. The gap between stimulation levels is too steep. It rejects the transition entirely. This is not a character flaw. This is neuroscience. The fix is a 5-minute sensory reset before every single deep work session. No phone, no music, no podcast, no input of any kind. Just silence or near silence. Look out a window, breathe slowly. Do nothing deliberately for 5 full minutes. This isn't wasted time. This is your neural palate cleanse, lowering your stimulation baseline so your brain can accept slow, deep information again. It is the decompression chamber between the casino and the library, and it costs you 5 minutes in exchange for hours of genuine, compounding focus. Do this consistently, and something remarkable happens. You start building focus stamina. The threshold for what counts as interesting enough to engage with drops significantly. Dense academic material starts to feel readable. Problems that once felt impossible start to open up. Boredom is not the enemy of learning. Boredom is the training ground for everything that matters. Everything we've covered so far is tactical, but underneath every tactic is a mindset shift that makes them all stick permanently. Most people using the internet are platform users. They go where the algorithm sends them. They consume what the feed selects. They learn what the recommendation engine decides is worth knowing today. That is not studying. That is being studied. You're not going to be that. You're going to be a sovereign curator of your own information environment. You decide what enters your mind. You decide when. You decide the sequence. The platform has no authority over your attention, unless you grant it that authority. Batch your research queries. Write every question you need answered before the browser opens. Run them all in one focused block. Retrieve. Close. Leave. Set a hard time limit on every research session. 25 minutes maximum. Timer running from the moment the browser opens. When it ends, you're out. No exceptions, no negotiations with yourself. The urgency sharpens your retrieval speed. The constraint protects your dopamine baseline and keeps the session from becoming a liability. And long-term, as interfaces become more immersive, more persuasive, more neurologically aggressive with every passing year, the people who've built these cognitive boundaries will have an asymmetric advantage that only widens. Not because they're smarter, because they've protected the one resource that every form of achievement, every skill, every relationship, Every ambition depends on entirely their attention. That is what every single piece of this is about. If this changed how you think about studying online, share it with one person who genuinely needs it. And subscribe, because this is just the beginning of what we're building here. The work starts now, not tomorrow. I'll see you in the next one.